All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining me in my presentation, Uno, Playing Your Cards Right in Global Casual. My name is Tom Van Dam. I work for Mattel 163. Mattel 163 is actually a joint venture between the American company Mattel and NetEase. Don't know, has everyone heard of NetEase in this room? A few people? You have? Okay. So NetEase is a somewhat fast-growing company in the world of mobile games, with making very popular games in China and more games in the global markets like Knives Out, a PUBG-style mobile game, Identity V, a horror survival game, all kinds of games, but mostly in the mid and hardcore space. But what the company does do very well is mobile free-to-play. The company wants to go to global markets and, of course, doesn't have very many globally appealing IPs. So we partnered with Mattel to have access to their complete IP portfolio. So this is how Mattel 163 was born. 163 stands for NetEase. This is obvious to anyone in China, but maybe not to everyone here. It was the old dial-up number for internet in China. All right. So Uno. It's an amazingly powerful brand in the Mattel portfolio. It has an extremely high global brand awareness ratio. The game is sold in about over 80 countries, still selling 10 million decks of physical cards every year. And actually, this game was invented already in 1971 in Ohio. So the game's been around forever. Mattel got it in 1992. It even passed through the hands of a funeral home owner. But let's not get too much into history there. It's a very old brand and it's very successful. What most people don't realize is that it's actually a $100 million a year business. Are there any people here that don't know how to play Uno? That's fine. I'll go through the basic rules just really quickly. It's a deck of cards. It has 4 colors: green, blue, red, and yellow. The cards go from 0 to 9. And you also have black cards, which can serve as any color. You play the cards. First one to get rid of all the cards in their hands wins. You play the same color or the same number, or you can play a special card which changes the direction of play, or you let the next player skip a turn or draw 2 or 4 cards. That's it. That's what makes this a casual game, and that's what makes it essentially appealing to a global audience. So people around the world play Uno. It's cross-culture, it's all ages, whether you're a small, a very young player, whether you're retired, whether you're working, whether you're a core gamer or a very casual gamer, Uno is appealing to virtually any type of player. And that is the strength of the brand that we're trying to leverage with our game. It's a connected experience that we have, meaning that anyone that plays anywhere in the world can connect. We're currently available both on Facebook Instant Games, one of the most popular games there, and definitely a top performer in terms of revenue, because 90% of our revenue on the Instant Game platform actually comes from AAP, in-app purchase, and not ads. And on the other hand, we are on iOS and Android. We've soft launched in 7 countries in 2018, adding the US in November. But since last week, Thursday, we're also available globally. But prior to our global launch last week, we had 15 million unique players already. We're not live in China and Korea yet. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the situation in China, for example, where approvals for games are still being withheld. But that will come at a later stage. Game's doing very well on iOS and Android. We have players play over an hour a day in an average of 2 sessions. So let me tell you what we've actually done with our mobile game, or the instant game that's available on Facebook, and how it's different from the many Uno games that actually have been made over the years. Because previously, even on iOS and Android, you would have Gameloft's Uno and Friends. You have a version for consoles, you have a version on Steam. Essentially, Uno is everywhere. But what we've tried to do is apply the more Asian style of monetization to this very global brand. So let me take you quickly through the core loop that we have in our game. First of all, you select a mode, and this is again relevant to all the types of players that we get in. Yes, you can play classic Uno, very casual, very relaxed, but you can also play with your own rules, invite your friends. We have multipliers, you can go for very high stakes games. But let's first start with just the classic mode. Essentially, you go into the next screen and you pay an entry fee. The entry fee is paid in game coins, which is one of the two currencies in the game. And you would get, the cost would be around 20 coins, and you can, for reference, think that we would sell game coins $1 for about 500. So it's a really tiny entry fee, and you get gold coins just for logging in, executive sign-in bonuses, lucky spinning wheel, sending coins to friends. There are all kinds of ways to get a limited amount of coins for free. So most people can just keep playing as long as they want. On that same entry-free screen, you can also select some extra tools. For example, a shield, that if you will lose the game, you will no longer lose any coins. Or you can have a clover, where you multiply the winnings from your game. After you made this selection, you go to the matching screen and you're being matched with anyone, anywhere in the world, on any platform. So you could be in the same game with someone on Facebook and someone on Android, someone on iOS. This is just a few seconds. Then we get into the actual game. The game lasts 3 minutes. Goal is very simple. Last person, or the first person to get rid of all their cards wins. If there's nobody got rid of all their cards in 3 minutes, then it's the player with the lowest negative score. The game speeds up in the last 60 seconds just to make it a little bit more intense. But at the end, it's very simple. Cards get counted. The number one, who hasn't got any cards left, has a score of 0. And if you've got any cards left, 1 to 9 gets counted as 1 to 9. A function card gets counted as 20, and a black card as 50. And so the number 1 and number 2 player in the game will win coins. And where will they win those coins from? From the number 3 and number 4 player. So besides that entry fee that you had to pay initially, there's a coin exchange between players. If you're number 2, you still win. If you're number 3 or 4, you still lose. How much you lose, how much you win is based on those other 2 players. If you had a lot of cards left when you lost, you're going to lose a lot of coins. But again, we sell several tools for that could prevent that loss. Wins and losses, that's calculated, and that's our core loop. That's the basic game of Uno. No energy system whatsoever. Let me try and get the next slide. All right. So what do we have besides the classic game of Uno? Well, a lot of added. We support live streaming. We support voice chat in the game. You can send each other gifts, things like that. We're esports ready. We can hand offline tournaments is something we're looking into. It's very social and competitive. You have those personalized avatars, so you can see people's Facebook avatars, which makes it very personal. If you're playing with someone from across the world that's not in your same age group, that gives a great competitive feeling. It's real-time multiplayer, and you connect anytime, anywhere. But the most important thing I think we've added is what makes the game really able to monetize and engage a wide spectrum of people. So even though the game is very, very casual, and it's very easy to get into, we can engage with really competitive, really high-end players as well. And we do that through Go Wild. And Go Wild is essentially a mode where that initial entry fee gets multiplied, maybe up to 80 times. And when it's multiplied, that also means that the associated wins and losses are multiplied. So in one game, rather than having 20 coins entry fee, you might have 1,600 coins as an entry fee, which would be upwards of $3. And the wins and losses that you would have would be in the dozens of dollars with that. So we can cater to those people who are really engaged or want to play for really high stakes. We have that in the same casual game. Our monetization goals, fairly straightforward. In the end, we want 60% from in-app purchases and 40% from reward video. And the way we approach that is by having that Western style of anyone can play, classic game modes, a colorful, simple interface that's easy to navigate, customizable avatars, all the things you're used to in a casual game. But on the other hand, you could almost say it's a little bit sneaky. We go in there with a sort of Chinese monetization model. We have a dual currency system. You have game coins, you have diamonds. We have the energy system is changed into coin-based. The VIP system, the more you spend, the higher of a VIP rank you get. And this in turn leads to more rewards. You can skip video, you get a higher bonus each subsequent time you purchase, and we have the multipliers. So this is all the tricks that we have in Asian monetization design we're bringing into this game as well. But most of these things are optional and wouldn't influence the casual gaming experience at all if you wouldn't choose to use them. And this strategy is already validated because compared to the previous mobile Uno game that was in the market, before we launched globally, our ARPU was already double from what the previous game did. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the funnel and how we monetize those users. What we're essentially trying to do is create an as big funnel as possible, where every type of user is sort of welcomed into the game. And this has the effect that we maximize traffic, but also allows us to optimize our CPI, and especially eCPI. Because we have that Mattel IP that attracts a lot of users. Many people have played Uno before, maybe in your childhood you have some memories, you want to relive the game. But essentially, the brand allows us to have a very high organic growth ratio already. And then we have to support that, of course, with UA. Now, mid-core gamers and hardcore gamers, as I explained, they can still enjoy Uno quite a bit because it is a game that you can get really competitive about. And if you look on YouTube, you look up some Uno videos, they're like 3 hour long videos on a single session of Uno, just because players are really into it. And just always at the last moment, there is a special card that turns the game upside down, and the player who had 1 card left now has 20 cards. It's possible. So it can get really intense, and we have those mid and hardcore players, but they're really expensive. And our LTV values don't really justify buying a lot of those users into our game. It's also not necessary, but we also take them on board. On the other hand, the casual gamers, which would be at first sight more suitable to our game, we like them a lot. Their CPIs are lower, we can optimize our costs more effectively, but we go even further. We can also aim for people that are first-time players or perhaps haven't touched games at all. The people that have played with real Uno cards or are interested in board games in general and just want to try how it is to play it digitally. And so we can acquire traffic that maybe other game companies wouldn't be so interested in. And those CPIs would be really much lower. So this is how we optimize our CPI model. Once we've got all those users in, those users don't monetize the same way. Someone that's barely playing any games is not going to monetize or pay the same amount as a mid or hardcore gamer or someone who's really into the game. So we have the segmented monetization approach. For the non-spenders, we have video rewards. But if you don't want to watch videos or don't want to watch advertisements, you will never see one. It's all completely optional. If you choose to watch a video, you get some game coins or you get some diamonds. Very easy. We've monetized, you're happy, we're happy, everyone's happy. If you don't want to watch videos at all, we don't impact your experience either, just to give a good experience. Then for the low and mid-tier spenders, we have basic in-app purchases. You can buy some extra coins, maybe a small shield because you're afraid you're going to lose all your coins. You want to customize your avatar a little bit, you want to spend a bit of money, that's fine. We cater to you as well. If you're that high-spending player that buys the welcome pack, within the first 30 seconds of starting the game, we like you a lot. And rest assured, we take care of you as well. Because we have our high performance shields, which can shield you from very big losses. We have a VIP system giving you bonus coins every day. If you purchase, your avatar gets a nice little VIP badge, ranks from 1 till 9, so we can see how much you spend. So we cater to you as well. So we funnel all these different types of users and that wide range of audience into different monetization pillars. And once they churn out at the end of their life cycle, then we want to cross-promote them into our ecosystem. So Mattel 163 is building further games, also with Mattel IPs, that will be able to make use of this wide range of traffic that we're bringing in. And this is also something that we're wanting to work on in the future with others, partnering up, in the sense that we want to use partnerships to connect our traffic with other games, either in terms of a licensing model or working together in publishing so that we can maximize the value that we're bringing in. We want to build a global community where we can pitch different countries against each other, tie that in with tournaments, because Uno is still very much played offline as well. We can make great online tournaments that seamlessly go into an offline experience that we can then live stream back to players worldwide. So we have a lot of potential for this brand. There's a lot of the monetization that I didn't go into yet at the moment. I would really encourage you to go and have a game of Uno and see how it's different from a lot of Western monetization design, and then come and have a chat with me and we can talk as much as you want. Thanks very much.
Tom, thank you for leaving some time for a Q&A. I really appreciate that. And we've got our first question over here.
Yes, I actually have two short questions.
Sure.
What if you would have released exactly the same game, but without the Uno Mattel IP? Would it make a lot of difference in organic user acquisition? And two, I saw you had a difference between VIP, IAP, and basic IAP. What are the differences there?
Okay. Great question. The first one. One of the reasons our company got set up is to make use of IP. So in our business model now, the power of IP is undeniably there. I think you would have to make some definite adjustments if you wouldn't have that IP to begin with. But currently, our user acquisition works in the same way as a non-IP game would work. We look at the lifetime value, which is not necessarily influenced by the IP so much, because the game itself is what's important to those users. Uno is just what brings them in the first place. So the fact that we have to monetize each and every user is just as important as a non-game. So the only difference would be eCPI versus CPI in this case.
We have another question over here. Yes?
Hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm an archaeologist, just to let you know where my questions are going to come from.
Okay.
So I have two questions concerning demographics. Means like, which country does generate in relative percentage the highest Uno traffic?
The highest, what traffic, sorry?
Like the most Uno players.
Oh, the most Uno players. So the US is a big market for Uno. Obviously, it's the home country of Mattel. But for example, also one of our top markets is Japan. So Japan actually has the highest ARPUs in the world also for a casual game like this. Australia is another game where the value of each user is very high. So it's actually a question of where is the Uno brand really popular so that you get in a lot of users, and where is it popular and it brings you users that actually bring a lot of value into their game. That's actually, are two different questions. And
all right, last question. Any other questions out here? All right, wonderful. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed hearing about Uno, a game that I've loved ever since I was a kid.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.